6:42 a.m. and Charge and I are on the trail after what could be described as a eventful evening and night. So, you know, we camped. I mentioned that in the previous episode's video. Well, we did camp, but the rain got heavier and heavier and heavier, and all the campsites were on a slope. So what that meant was there was rain basically coming at us from all directions. It was coming from out of the roof, out of the sky, and it was trying to run underneath our tent. We got pretty damp, but are in fact remarkably dry this morning. Our sleep systems are a bit damp. We're both wearing wet clothes. There's nothing like putting on a pair of wet shorts first thing in the morning, followed by wet socks and wet shoes. But it's all warm now. It's all warmed up, so that'll dry. Our current plan, we're going to walk to the Nantahala Outdoor Centre, and we are going to eat the food. We are going to attempt to dry some of our stuff out because the weather forecast for today is pretty good. And we are going to consider where we go next. But we are dirty, we're damp, but we are still heading north. I will come to Charge at some point in the not too distant future for his comment on the day. But he's taking deep breaths and sending fragrant smoke my way. And we're just trudging with bars in our pockets, and we'll munch on something and maybe make a warm drink slightly further down the road. We just want to get a couple of hours or at least a couple of miles along before we do anything. Good morning, Charge.
What a morning it is. It's beautiful. We get to do this today.
We get to do this today, and it's not raining.
No, it's misty as hell. And quite spooky, actually.
It was much spookier last night, Joe, when there were 3 very loud shotgun blasts.
Well, you should have been doing what I was doing.
Yeah, sleeping.
Yeah.
I was holding on to the slope and trying not to slide down it. Yeah. So, today...
Right, 9.1 into the knock.
Yep.
Got 2 big climbs.
Yep.
And then the shop or restaurant should be open, so get a nice hot meal.
Yep.
Haven't had breakfast yet, but we'll do that on the go. And then we probably have another 5 or 6 miles out of the knock to the shelter, which is all uphill, and it's going to be a bugger.
We climbed something like 4,566 metres yesterday. Yeah. So feet, I should say feet yesterday. Yeah. So
you know, it was just felt the whole day was going up, 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 and then towards the end there it was down.
So are we going for the next 9 miles? Is it mainly down?
No.
There's one big bald in there.
2 big hills.
Oh, 2 balds. Hey, why have 1 bald when you can have 2?
Exactly. Come on, let's get going.
Okay. I'm eating on the move. Still got my bars from New Zealand. Pic's peanut butter. It's fantastic because it's got no sugar in it. It tastes like peanuts. They always talk about, with through hiking, the fact that you need to embrace the suck. And last night and this morning are very much an example of how uncomfortable it can be. I'm not sure how much sleep I got because I was at the top of the slope and I was clinging onto my sleeping pad, and there was a lot of water involved. It was a lot of water under me. There's a few drips coming from the ceiling, a bit damp. It was just really uncomfortable. And this morning, putting on wet clothes is not great. But my wet socks have warmed up. My wet shorts have warmed up. we're on the trail. I've had my duck, first bar and peanut butter of the day. And, you know, I still wouldn't be anywhere else. It's a big adventure, and sometimes adventures come with a bit of discomfort. Time to take the raincoat off. After all that rain and liquid misery, really. We have a blue sky. The sun's coming out. And as Sloth just WhatsApped to me, because he's 4 miles up the track, we get to do this today. We don't have to. A charge.
Right.
That's one bald down, and now we're heading downhill. It was hard work, that hill. Joe and I, Charge and I, are both low on food. Really didn't eat dinner last night much, and have done something on the run for breakfast this morning. So we're low on food and didn't sleep very well. So you can feel it in your legs. We're about to pass by the shelter in about 0.8 of a mile that the guy we're walking with, Sloth, he went onto that shelter last night. So this is what we would have had to do last night if we'd kept going, and it would have been really hard. So I'm glad we didn't. I think there's blue sky up there, but we're up in the clouds again. Just arrived at the Westerbold shelter to collect Sloth. This is what we needed last night. There's the bear hang cables. Oh, would have made life so much easier. This is a nice looking shelter. This is nice and big. Oh my God, there's people who watch our video. Oh my God. So we just came down to the Westerbold shelter to find Sloth, our walking partner. And I've found two blues, a blue cross and a blue shield, who have actually watched Kiwis in the woods. I mean, squeeze my knees, that's pretty amazing. So can you just introduce yourselves, please? Introduce yourselves, please.
I'm Blue Cross.
I'm Blue Shield.
Where are you guys from?
Florida, Gainesville, Florida.
And when did you start?
So this is our 3rd year on the trail.
So you're doing what we're doing. You're doing section hikes.
Exactly, yeah. So this year we're doing about a 100-mile trek from, where did we start? Dix Creek Gap, where the hostel around the bend is, all the
hostel
way.
around the bend. Did you stay there?
Fantastic, yeah.
We stayed there last year too.
I love that place. And so what sections have you done?
So basically all the way up from Amicalola to here.
So you're just joining it up?
Exactly, yeah.
Okay, and do you have a plan to finish, or are you just going to keep chipping away?
Hopefully by the time I'm 51.
Okay.
But which is kind of like an odd number.
You know, you're going to do it way earlier than I will have achieved it. I hope to have done it by the time I'm 59.
All right.
And
it's all good.
It is all good. And where are you going to today?
Hopefully Sassafras Gap Shelter on the other side of the Knock.
Yeah. Okay. So we have collected Sloth from the shelter. And in fact, you may be wondering, Who is that person in front of me? And where is Charge? Well, Charge is charging behind me. And Sloth is the pace setter this morning as we head towards the knock. And actually it's all about the food. And again, you climb and climb and climb and climb, hoping for a beautiful view. And today, you get what you get. Just popped an ibuprofen for my knees. This is hardcore downhill. Now the view's starting to come out. Look at those beautiful mountains. The clouds lifting. But what's ominous about those mountains is I'm pretty sure we're climbing them this afternoon. There he is. Hey Chad, you can go in front of me because I know we're all charging now towards the burgers. But right now, I'm just focused on welcome hikers, getting myself some food. Oh, it's a beautiful day down here. So we just went to one place, looked lovely, River's End, but they don't do burgers. So that was a hard no. Look at this place. They do whitewater rafting and all sorts of adventures here. Looks fantastic. Like lots and lots and lots and lots of fun. It's significantly warmer down here now that we're out of the mountains. Obviously no cloud, and it's hot and sunny. Oh dear, I've lost Charge to the big chair. Or possibly Charge has. So hungry, Joe's so hungry that he's shrunk to this tiny little figurine. Those burgers aren't going to eat themselves. Can you get out of that chair? Time to head uphill. Everyone's been telling us how steep this is. I'm sure it's going to be absolutely fine. Look at that. I've got my sun hat on. So it was great just to get to the knock. Just be able to sit in the sunshine for a couple of hours. We got burgers. But put our feet up. Even better, I got to wash and scrub my hands and face in the bathroom with hot water. I washed our water bottles. I washed our water filters. And I washed around the outside of all of my food bags, my toilet bags, and my raincoat and my sit bag because it was all filthy. We've currently lost the white blaze, so we are going to have another look. Okay, we're grinding our way up the 7-mile hill. Some parts are lovely. Some parts are just steep and really hard. But we're 1.8 miles away from Sassafras Shelter, and a chunk of that is downhill. So the end is in sight. Whew. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is a wrap. 7 miles uphill. I'll put how many kilometres that is on the screen, but to quote the famous New Zealander, Sir Edmund Hillary, who was the first man to climb Mount Everest. We knocked that bastard off. It was my personal Everest today. I felt that perhaps it may never end. But we've got a simple 0.8 to Sassafras Shelter, and we're going to get there and bask in a feeling of deep satisfaction. Too excited. Sassafras Gap Shelter 0.1. You heard it here. First at the shelter, which is great because then we get the spot that we want in the corner. It's a double deck shelter, and I have already got all my sleep stuff hanging. Joe's just hanging his because it's all still wet from last night. So we're going to be able to dry that out, and what a win. Great day, 17 miles, a total elevation gain of over 4,651 feet. I'll say what that is in metres, but take my word for it, it's a lot. Nice privy just over there in the trees, and actually a really lovely lookout. Great shelter. It's really, really good to be here. Charge is over here, drying out our incredibly wet tent from last night. Oh, it's filthy. Never mind, that's a problem for another day. Oh, look, it's my turn to get the water for the recovery smoothies. And literally 50 metres in front of the shelter, down a little bank, and sensational water. Oh, such a win.
I'm feeling old.
It's 6:15 a.m. and we are on the road. We've got about 19 miles. Sorry? 20 miles to do today to Fontana Dam Resort Hotel. So there's a hot shower, clean laundry, and a comfy bed at the end of today, so we're all keen to get there. Good morning, Flash.
Well, actually, I'm Flash.
I'm Charge. It's very early.
So, who am I?
You're Charge, but not in charge.
Good morning, Flash. Hey, Flash, I got a big question.
Yes.
This morning at 5:45,
Yeah.
I saw you waddle off.
Careful, watch the waddle.
Anyway, I saw you waddle off, and the privy was to the right. And way off in the distance to the left, I saw you waddle down and down and down. Did you get lost this morning?
I did get lost. I had no one to follow, and I ended up walking down the hill, and in the end I just peed in the grass.
Good. Anyway, big hill this morning. Got
Yep.
3 majors, 20 miles off the Fontana Dam, and yeah, let's just do it.
It was a great night last night in that shelter.
Yep.
Cheerbald. That was a very steep climb out of Sassafras shelter, and you climb up here looking for the view, and of course that's my view because you're looking gorgeous, Charge, but pretty much that's what's going on. So time for breakfast, and I don't think there's many hills that are quite as severe as that today. Kind of slow going this morning. I was just talking to Charge, and he's reminded me that we did a huge amount of climbing yesterday and the day before, but we are ending up down at Fontana Dam tonight, which means there's a lot of going down that we need to do. So going down sounds like a good thing, but it's really hard on the knees, and it's slow going because it's not easy. It's just us not walking down a set of stairs. I'm climbing down as we speak. It's navigating your way down tricky pavements and over roots. I was just going to share a little story from the other night, which was kind of funny, which we've been laughing about for a bit. And it was a really, really, really rainy night, and we got up the next morning. In fact, it was yesterday, and everything was muddy and filthy and disgusting and damp. And there was one other person, an older woman, who had camped at the same campsite as us. I think she's from one of the southern states. And we're having a wee chat, and I said something like, "Oh God, I just hate all this dirt and everything." And she said to me, "Well, you must be used to dirt and stuff, given that you come from New Zealand." And I'm not quite sure what she meant, but we've been laughing about that for the last 24 hours, given that we come from New Zealand. Right, Mount Possible, elevation 3,881. We're going to Stokoa Gap, via Brown Fork Gap, we've been over Cheerbald, that bald, and Sassafras Gap. We're going north. It's a bit like Pennsylvania, honey.
Hey, Flash.
Charge!
What?
Look, I've come down to Stokoa Gap, and someone's left bananas and beef ramen, instant noodles,
And
water.
we haven't been able to find any water so far this morning. Yeehaw, that's like a dozen beer to me. Woohoo!
That's fantastic. I'm gonna have a banana and a rest. And not only is there a banana at Stokoa Gap, there's a rubbish bin. So I'm gonna throw all of the rubbish that I've got in the bag, and because every ounce counts. Brown Fork Gap Shelter. It's my turn at the front today, because it's quite hard being at the front and setting the pace every day, so I'm giving Charge a break. We need some water, so in fact what we're going to do is go point one down there and fill up our water at the water source. Layers of smoky mountains. That's where we're heading. It's about 1:10 and we've done, coming up for 13 miles. Just stopped for lunch. We're having a lot of food beginning with C. Cheese and chips. Oh, and various other stuff. We're kind of getting to the bottom of our food bags. You kind of eat what's left. I'm still at the front. It's my turn today. We're 8 miles out from Fontana. We're all feeling it a bit today. We've done a lot of miles in the last week. And it's time for a hot shower and a bit of a rest. Charge and I are also debating what we're going to do tomorrow. We're thinking that we might have a sleep in, go and have a cooked breakfast and all that kind of stuff, and then leave the resort a little bit later and just walk to a shelter that's maybe 10 miles away. So make it a bit of a shorter day, just to give Charge and his foot a chance to rest. But we'll see what happens. There's a really big hill in our future before we get to the resort, so we just got to keep heading north. Oh, okay. Just got down to climb down to Fontana. Ooh, Fontana Dam. Nearly 10.5 hours. This much elevation. Descended 7,424 feet and ascended 4,707 feet. It's been a big day, over 21 miles. So we'll go and find out what happens next, so that we can all get to the resort. So the magic phone's out of order, but that's okay. They've told us to come down here and someone will call us a shuttle, and I think there might be beer down here as well. It's a great feeling to be here. It's been a really long and intense day, but the feeling of arriving here in Fontana. So we're walking down to the Fontana Marina, and tomorrow, maybe, or the day after, Charge and I will walk across the Fontana Dam up into the Smoky Mountains. And yeah. Okay. Sloth's taking off his... Oh, is Sloth gonna do the... Fontana Marina. Sloth's gone in to get us a shuttle to take us to the resort. So there was good news and there was bad news.
Cheers.
Good news, cold beer.
Woohoo.
Bad news, no shuttle. We've got to walk, what, 1 3/4 miles?
Yeah.
It'll be better with beer.
Better with beer. Ah.